Riley Bieker, and I am a Gosack Ambassador Intern here at the Sound Collection Lab. Today I'm here with Erin Langford, and we're going to be talking about the Fort Smith Historical Society Journal, and talk about the contents and just what Erin does and things like that. I got the opportunity to look through the journal and kind of see everything that goes down. This is my first time looking at the journal, honestly, and it was very interesting. I saw that Kathy Peterson, who's been your designer for 20 years, is stepping down.
She is retiring, so we are actively searching for a new designer.
Cool.
And all of this, everything from cover to how it's laid out, was all Kathy.
Yeah, I think that's very impressive, and definitely big shoes to fill, but I'm
she's
sure
a treasure.
Yeah, I can imagine. In the journal, there's a piece by Dr. Daniel Maher about the Sound Collection Lab, and just kind of laying out what we do here. And
yeah, it's a really nice overview of kind of how it started, how it's going, and it's very impressive to be in this room.
Yeah, it's changed so much since it first started, with Shelley Blanton starting the archivist in the backpack, and all the oral histories with the St. Scholastica Monastery and stuff. And it's really important work, so it's nice that this is available to students, it's available to the community, so it's really great to be here today to sit down. I think it's good to have you here, and it's good to have this and being able to collect. I think collecting the St. Scholastica oral histories now is just so important, and
it is, and it goes to like the wider history of the area and ties to tons of other places that people don't necessarily realize are here. And
getting those digitized and advertised in this journal is so big, and I know we appreciate that a lot here.
We definitely like the kind of co-work, and want to make sure that all aspects of that are being presented, and all aspects of that history are represented in the journal. So.
I think as a history major, and coming into it and realizing how much there really is in Fort Smith, it's really, really cool, and it all comes together in the history journal right here. Our very own professor here, Tom Wing, has a piece in there on the Carnegie Library.
The library creation, and he's done a lot throughout the years with everything going at Drennan Scott and the Wilhoff House. So he's been like a constant contributor, and we appreciate it. But yeah, it's a really interesting piece about public library creation.
Yeah, it's honestly very interesting. I thought it was very interesting, the time frame that it was in, and how there seemed to be an emphasis on leaving prejudices at the door. And thought that was very interesting. And
it's talking about kind of board meetings and things and the creation, so you see the building or you hear the stories, but you don't really know kind of the back-end work that went into establishing sometimes.
Tom Wing did some very, very good work in establishing a history and laying out the different decisions and things that happened. Andrew Carnegie is a very, very interesting character to me. I think the donations and his charity work is just very honorable, but just a very interesting character all around. That's for sure.
He's a complicated
guy. Complicated.
Like most big names of his era, he's complex.
For sure. I did not honestly know the history of the library here in Fort Smith, and so it was very, very interesting to read through that, thought he did a very good job.
Yeah, to be fair, because I'm a transplant and I was in your shoes, 10-ish years ago, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that gets into the journal, like I don't know either.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because I'm reading it first time sometimes.
I think I'm a history major, but for some reason I've never really delved into the history of Fort Smith, where I live, and this has been very awesome to read through and just learn new things and stuff.
Well, and I will say there are tons of older copies because been since 77. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so there are tons of copies at the library downtown. We have a storage room there that you can look at old copies. I know they have them in the library here with Shelley. So I know there are a lot that you can go back and kind of delve through, and then you kind of see transitions even in our own journal of what's deemed like important history and history that is just starting to be shared because there weren't really people writing about it. So you see that transition in our organization too.
I think something I noticed and Dr. Maher pointed out was how the newspapers and the different news articles that are put in the end of the journal, how they've changed and how kind of they've gotten a little like some of the articles that are incorporated are very out there and very interesting to say the least.
We put the 100 Years newspaper, so this is of course what the major newspapers 100 years ago were sharing, and sometimes there's interesting.
It's very interesting.
The verbiage maybe used on things, but it's still part of history, so it's important that we share it.
And that's Al Whitson.
Al Whitson, and Al was president before my time. He served various functions, and he's really important in the organization. And we love every time we get the contributions from him. We love it too.
He seems. I mean, his name is all throughout this journal. He seems to be a very interesting man that I honestly did not know before reading the journal, and I didn't.
Other organizations in town too, because he's very busy. I know that. Yeah,
it says he's published all the time with things with topics on Fort Smith history, and one of the articles in there was by Sue Robinson.
Yes.
The murder of Deputy Marshal Barney Connolly.
Sue does a lot of work as well, and Sue's articles are always really great. She is a former journalist, and she worked with news media in town before, so retired from that. But she does a lot of investigation, and I know she pretty much lives over in the library here sometimes. But that was a really interesting story because I wasn't familiar with that either.
I was not either.
We know all about the Wild West or Old West history and expansionism and all the stuff with Parker's Court, but that one surprised me.
It's such a sensationalized case.
Yes.
And such a gruesome case at that.
And it's not sanitized her article. It's giving you all the details.
I think that was important, honestly, because the article was very interesting. So I think her not leaving out any details was important to get the history, and she did an amazing job putting forth the history on it.
And she's coming at it from a journalist perspective too. So she's all who, when, where, why, how, all of that information. She's delving into every little wherever the road takes you. She's delving into it to make sure she's got it all covered. It
was very well written. Another one was Joe Johnson and the Scarlet Jury.
Yes, So that's another one where, the good, the bad, the ugly, that's going to come out. And that was all over newspapers. It was very sensationalized because you literally had, prostitutes coming in to testify. But at the time, how do you take the testimony of this woman if she's not even part of the society? So there's a lot of...
I think
social views exposed in that one. So.
And then Joe Johnson's disbarment and just how that fell apart after the case. I think Ben Bolden did an amazing job laying out every aspect of that, to the reactions, to the outcome and everything. It was very well written.
Yeah, and he's a member, but he has served on boards and things for the organization before when they lived in Fort Smith. I think they're in Little Rock now, or maybe outside Little Rock. But yeah, when he sent that one over, I was like, what the? Like, just didn't know this happened, didn't know. And I'm like, well, corruption in towns isn't anything new.
Yeah.
So.
And in Fort Smith, I think there's a lot of history of corruption.
Yep.
Well, tell me a little bit about what you do at the Journal.
So I co-edit with Joyce Faulkner. So basically, when we get submissions and they go through all different channels within the organization, I go over the submissions. We try to make sure they're in, Chicago style, checking citations, checking grammar, checking all of those sorts of things.
You sound like my professor.
Yeah. It definitely keeps me relevant with my history degree. But making sure that those things kind of fit into our style guide, and then if they don't necessarily like talking with the author or giving feedback on how to change it if we need to. But also keeping folks on timelines and trying to make sure it's the carrot and the horse situation, like trying to make sure everybody's in on a certain date, to make sure that we get it to the printer on a certain date, to make sure we have it mailed out by a certain date. And we always have those goals. You don't always hit the goals with everything that goes on in life, but we definitely try to have the April journal out at the start of April and the September journal out at the start of September, because the April journal, at least we want to have in people's hands before the Arkansas State Historical Association meeting. So maybe you're talking about it with your friends when you show up to the meeting.
Yeah, and it's so many moving parts throughout. I can only imagine.
But it's fun.
I
think it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun to read through, that's for sure.
We definitely try.
So can just anyone submit a article to be put in the journal, or? Anyone
could submit. We've had student submissions before. That's actually how I got involved. My paper
for a seminar class.
From seminar was added in, and but anyone can make contributions. Anyone can definitely approach us to ask questions. We are actually looking for submissions for April coming up. We've got a lot of anniversaries going on. So we have the 150th of Fort Smith Public Schools right now, 250th of the country, and then I think that Arkansas is getting ready to have its anniversary in 2026 too as a state. So we have a P.O. box you can send to, and I'm going to read this off, but it's P.O. Box 3676 at Fort Smith, Arkansas 72913. So you can old-fashioned mail us, you can email us. Let me pull up, because we have, with our new website, we have some changes in that. But fortsmithhistory@gmail.com, and that's going to go to Bill Ward. He's our current president, but he will cycle it out as needed.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll keep that in mind when I'm in my seminar class.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So how can people go about getting a subscription, or?
We have the Fort Smith Historical website, and we have contact information which we can give. It's really easy to become a member. It's actually not very expensive at all, considering other organizations that you might think to be a member with. But the perks of having the membership is that you get the journals, you're updated with the meetings, because we try to have meetings at the Fort Smith Library main branch downtown.
Every Tuesday?
It's the second Tuesday of the month, I believe. I have to double check, because I know we've had date moves before. We try to keep it as consistent as possible, and location is consistent, but we work with the library schedule. So if they have an event, we may have to move to the museum downtown, things like that. But we post, we have Facebook, Instagram, and just Fort Smith Historical Society on any of those social medias, and we try to update to keep people posted.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It's been nice talking with you.
Thanks for having me.
It's nice to kind of see maybe a glimpse of me in 10 years after my history degree.
Well, we're always looking for new members and always looking for contributions, so you're more than welcome to come along.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This video is a production of the Sound Collection Lab. Located in the History, Social Sciences, Philosophy Department, originating from the University of Arkansas at Fort Smith. Programming in the History, Social Sciences, Philosophy Department's Sound Collection Lab is made possible in part by funding contributed for the Porter Legacy Initiative.